This video is about reed care and maintenance. In the first day of saxophone class, we were mainly concerned about getting the reed wet, placement onto the mouthpiece, embouchure, and a million other little things on that first day. This video is a little more refined about specifically reed care and maintenance. The main thing we always want to be concerned about is this bottom part of the reed, the flat part of the reed that goes onto the mouthpiece. We want to make sure is always as flat as possible, as little warpage as possible on this back part of the reed, or any part of the reed really. And there's several ways to accomplish that. One, when we soak the reed, first of all, we mainly just kind of wet the butt end just a little tiny bit and then mainly soak the tip. You can either soak it in your mouth or a little thing of water here. And for a new reed, you only need to soak it 30-60 seconds. An older reed, to get the warpage out of the tip, maybe 2, 3, 4 minutes. Unlike soaking a bassoon reed where we basically soak all of the wood. We don't want to waterlog the whole reed, specifically the butt end of the reed. But right as we're ready to put it onto the mouthpiece to create a better seal, we do kind of lick the butt end just one more time and then put it onto the mouthpiece, and then we can start playing. Other things to discourage warpage on the reed is when we're done, we do not keep the reed on the mouthpiece. We take the reed off the mouthpiece, wipe off any moisture to prevent some future warpage, and we store it on a flat surface. Most reeds come with little reed cases, and those are just fine. Another, a little more in-depth thing to encourage the life of the reed or extend the life of the reed and discourage warping is sanding the reed. First of all, when we sand, we do not sand after we've played on the reed. We usually sand before we play on a reed in a day. We usually know ahead of time, I want to sand this reed. So we check our surface to make sure it's very flat, no debris that's going to create grooves in the reed. Then we put a piece of paper down and check it for anything that will create grooves in the reed. And then we put the sandpaper down and we check it. Okay, so the reed, we've wiped it dry after it's soaked. We kind of lick our fingertips so it can kind of hold on to the reed. And we sand it for maybe 5 seconds or so. And then we also do the same thing on the paper. And we also do it on the top of the reed, but only towards the tip. And also on the paper, only towards the tip. Then again, we lick the butt end, we set it on, and we can play. So, as it says here, in the first couple days of the reed, first several days of the reed, we may want to sand it every other day, every third day, just to really close those pores. After that, once every 2 or 3 weeks maybe. And to make sure that you've watched this video, the one thing you need to remember for class is the sandpaper that you use is 600 grit, wet or dry sandpaper. It's not either or, it's not wet or dry. The sandpaper is called wet or dry sandpaper.